Welcome again to the final part of this lecture on Paris Agreement. So we were talking about the adaptation. Adaptation refers to the actions and strategies adopted by countries in order to continue the growth and development while considering the consequences related in the environment due to the climate change. So, adaptation is basically the post consequence lifestyle, if I simply refer it. And mitigation is uh, the looking at the causes of climate change and minimizing those causes. Now, adaptation refers to the subsequent part after the effect of climate change. For example, uh, there was a report published in the BBC that farmers in the southern part of Bangladesh, sorry, uh, they have some new ideas in protecting the seed and farming for the crops. So they have actually used floating, uh, what do you call it, floating areas uh, by uh, by by the grasses which floats in the water. So above the water, they use heavily those grasses and creates a kind of zone uh, that floats, and then above that they use the muds and others uh, fertilizers. So then they starts growing the crops in those floating zones, which is a new form of harvesting mechanisms, and that has been done by the groups uh, that has been done by the groups of farmers in southern part of Bengal. Now, why they have done it? Number one, because there are certain areas in which they used to grow the process of farming, which is now below water, so they could not utilize those areas, and then they have found new ways. This is one point. There are many other examples of adaptation, how people are actually, complying with the post climate affected areas. Um, and the future is always more on adaptation. Now, yeah, one can give an arguments about whether mitigation is a very important issue or adaptation, which one should have preference and which one not. I think all these questions requires more discussion, but from our perspective, we can safely come to certain understandings that both are equally important, uh, and the measures to be taken by both or through both processes are required, because you may focus on mitigation, you may contribute to the to lessening the overall impact of climate, but you cannot completely stop the consequences climate change is affecting us. So if and as you cannot completely end the uh, damage climate change is causing, therefore the focus on adaptation is also very important, because under any circumstance, for example, if tomorrow a certain part of a particular country is submerged below water, the people have to survive, have to lead their life. Now how they are going to do that? New ideas, new ways and thinkings have to be you know, kept in mind to find out the solutions. So our point of view is both mitigation and adaptations are equally important, to give equal emphasis on on both the issues. Another issue Paris Agreement highlighted is the loss and damage, because this is how the vulnerable countries needs the damages, the compensation or the assistance funds in order to cope up with the situations. We see that after every cyclones in the Bay of Bengal causing severe disastrous consequences for the locals of the southern part of Bangladesh, who have who are frequently losing many of their hopes and whatnot. Transparency, I said before, that transparency is again a very crucial issues. Many projects have a huge amount of fundings, but due to the lack from the side of the from the side of those who implement the plan, is interrupted because of the issue of corruption. Uh, Finance and technology are also vital. Technology, we talked about technology, that this is the most important for us, particularly the countries who do not have advanced technology. Paris Agreement does not establish emission reduction and limitation targets for individual parties. The core reflection is principle of common but differentiate responsibilities. This is very important. The core reflection of Paris Agreement is the principle of common but differentiate responsibilities and respective capabilities. So the concept of common but differentiate responsibilities has further been elaborated or further been specified by the concept called respective capabilities. In short, CBDRC. It is considered as one of the cornerstone principles of the climate regime. The common but differentiate responsibilities and respective capabilities restatement is made with the express specification that it will be implemented in the light of different national circumstances. The agreement formulates a mitigation mandate to all parties without limiting that obligation to a set list of countries. The differentiation persists with developed countries taking the lead by undertaking economy-wide absolute emission reduction targets, which is provided in Article 4.4, and being obliged to provide financial resources to assist developing countries parties, which is mentioned in Article 9.1. In particular, the finance obligations are primarily directed to developed countries, with only a weak call to other countries to provide finance finance voluntarily. So I think if I take the whole Paris Agreement, three issues are important. One is the one is the NDCs, nationally determined contributions. Second is mitigation and adaptation issue, and third is the common but differentiate responsibilities and respective capabilities. You need to explain and elaborate these three things. Apart from that, the issue of technology transfer, fund transfer by the countries are important, in which you must highlight how the countries should adopt with the voluntary cooperation of each other, and also focus on how technology can be playing the key role in the mitigation and adaptation And finally, of course, that you can bring under the common but differentiate responsibilities and respective capacities, that the issue of state responsibility. The final slide talks about the US drama, I would rather say, with respect to Paris Agreement, because in 1st June 2017, US declared its intention to withdraw from Paris Agreement, and on 4 November 2019, they sent the formal communication to the UN that they would be leaving the Paris Agreement. And as per the requirements of the agreement, after a year of the communication, the country will be withdrawn from the whole obligation. So that's how US has left itself from the Paris Agreement. But finally, when a new president is elected, he is, reflecting or echoing to the reverse, that they want to be part of the Paris. Now it is a matter to see how they move ahead. And US is very important for the reason that uh, it contributes a largest, is a single the largest number of largest carbon emissions, which is why its obligations and its cooperation is highly needed. So thank you and good luck.